Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 982 and today we are back for another brand new video. Today's video doesn't even need an introduction, ladies and gentlemen. It's old firm time. So let's preview it and try to correctly predict it, and let's not waste time here. This game should be an absolute blockbuster. Both teams are the only teams in the SPFL to have won all their games so far in the league. Both teams are also coming off good results in European football, reaching the Europa League group stages. And lastly, both teams have scored for absolute fun so far this season, especially against teams not just sitting back, parking the bus and defending. And that leads me to the first thing I would like to discuss in today's video, and that's going to be previewing this Celtic team. Because attacking wise, this Celtic team is as strong as it has been over the last couple of years, because there's a lot of discussion about how good is this Celtic team compared to Celtic teams over the past couple of years that's managed to win the league. But offensively, they're still very, very strong. They've got players that can create things out of nothing, and they've got a striker who seems to score in the big games. But defensively, and this is just my opinion on this Celtic team, but defensively, they are absolutely rank rotten. Now, to be fair, they did lose one of their best defensive players in Kieran Tierney, and old Granny Hips himself. When he was sold to Arsenal, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not this money was going to be spent on a replacement of a big reputation. But once again, Celtic don't invest the money that they've got for the players that they are selling for a hell of a lot of money, and seem to buy these cheap replacements. And if I'm honest with you, this replacement at left back hasn't impressed me one bit, and I really see mistakes in him. It's also worth noting that Ayer, who I think is probably Celtic's best overall player at the club just now, again that's just my opinion, you can completely disagree with that and write your hate if you want, but I think he's a very good young centre-half. He will be missing this game of football. He picked up a groin injury on Thursday during the Europa League qualifying game, and he will be missing the old form unless it's like all smoke and mirrors, and he won't, but he limped off in that game, and it's heavily reported that he will not be involved at all. So it's expected this Celtics defence, who has been struggling all season long, has now lost its best defensive player, and will be playing 3 new players that has just signed this summer. But most importantly, and the biggest eye grabber, it's expected that Bitton, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, will be starting at centre half. The guy is a midfielder, and he's expected to start at centre half versus Rangers. That's a makeshift defence, to say the very, very least. And for those who like their stats and facts, ever since the ticket reduction between Rangers and Celtic has happened, every team that has been playing at home has won the Old Firm. And that leads me perfectly to the second fact of today's episode. Now, apparently, this is the first time since 2011 that Rangers go into an Old Firm match as the favourites. So read into that what you will, but if I'm honest with you, that's me done speaking about this Celtic team and previewing them. They are still a very strong outfit, especially going forward, but to me, just looking at this Celtic team, they seem like a very, very unbalanced team this year. Very good at going forward, but absolutely mince at the back. But moving away from them and turning our attention to Rangers, everything I just said about Celtic being unbalanced and being good going forward, going at the back, blah, 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 it's the exact opposite on the Rangers end. I mean, this is the first time in, I honestly don't know how long, that Rangers has been brimming for quality for the goalkeeper, all the way through the squad, right to the striker. And unlike Celtic's defence, who has been quite leaky with goals, this Rangers' defence has been pretty damn impressive this year, barely letting in any. And I think a lot of that goes towards the form of Nikola Katic and Connor Goldson. Now, this was a partnership that we all wanted and we all screamed for all season long last year, because we started the season off with those two. We saw how impressive they were, but this might be just me being stupid or just buying into the hype so far of them two this season, but I think they're better now than what they were last season. They just look like they're at a different level, and the two of them work so well with each other, and they're both commanding in their own way. I mean, Katic is a big physical monster who just will not be beaten in the air, and Connor Goldson's the leader of the team, who's willing to bring the ball and drive it forward, and you see him always shouting. They just seem to work so well with each other, and I think they played a massive part on how well this defence has been. And I think the best way to summarise how good this Rangers defence is, and how good they two have been especially, you've got a £3.5 million centre half of the Serie A, who's a Swedish international, can't get a sniff in the first team right now. And that's not because he's bad or he's flopped. He's a very good player. But Katic and Connor Goldson just been at a different level, and he can't get near them. And when you just look at the midfield, where I personally think Old Firms are won and loss, I think this Rangers midfield is head and shoulders better than what Celtic are this season. Ryan Jack's playing just at a complete and utter different level. You've got Joe Aribo, who adds just that bit of an it factor. You've got Glenn Kamara, who was strolling it last year and strolled it against that entire Celtic midfield last year. Isn't even first team right now, because you've got the former Stephen Davis, who's back just dictating play and being a leader in the middle of the park. And we've not even discussed Scotty Arfield, who was a foreign Celtic side all year last year. He's still there to just be that maverick who can score a goal and create something out of nothing. But I want to turn our attention to the striking position at Rangers, because we go into this game of football with two strikers that's absolutely red hot, and neither of them can stop scoring right now. Whenever one of them plays, they score. That's the way it's been every single time. And if you've been paying attention to the rotation that Gerrard has been doing so far with the strikers, Morelos has either been playing in Europe or playing in the league, but they swap out. They don't play Thursday and the Sunday. So if it follows the same rotation, Jermaine Defoe will be starting this game. And if I'm honest with you, when he played Celtic the last time, did he put a foot wrong? No. He was so clever with his movement. He created that wonderful dummy as well for Scotty Arfield to score the second goal and win that game. He never put one foot wrong, but can we ignore the form of Alfredo Morelos right now, especially now that Alfredo Morelos seems to have fixed his issue with his temper? I mean, you just go back, even throughout the game so far this season, he's just been so calm. They've tried to kick him, they've tried to get in his face, and he's managed to rise above it all. And just from Thursday as well, it done a complete 180, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there was a scuffle with Jordan Jones on the halfway line. Morelos sprinted up. We all thought he was going to get involved and just start dropping folk, but he played the peacemaker. Alright, I'm never going to stop talking about that. He was the peacemaker. That's the evolution of Alfredo frickin' Morelos. Now, I'm sure this question isn't going to surprise anyone watching today's video, but I want to ask you, Alfredo Morelos or Jermaine Defoe, who and why? But before you fire in your opinion, I just want to pitch you two different scenarios. One, if we start with Jermaine Defoe, we saw it in the last game versus Celtic. His cleverness, his movement was against a Celtic team who had a pretty damn good defence, especially when you compare it to this year. But this year, we will be coming up with 3 new players that's just recently joined the football club and a centre midfielder at centre half. Do you play Jermaine Defoe, who is just at a next level, just with his mentality and his positional sense, and he's an absolute nuisance. He's so clever, and that psychic connection he has with Scotty Arfield could genuinely have this inexperienced backline of Celtic just chasing shadows? Or do you unleash Alfredo Morelos and just let him do his thing? Is he ready to silence his doubters? What he lacks maybe with link-up play, like what Jermaine Defoe brings to the table, he definitely lacks. He's not quite there at that stage, but what he brings is just sheer physicality, again, against an inexperienced back line. And by the way, I just want to clarify, because I'm sure there's going to be some people diving into the comments saying, this guy's played 115 games, this guy's played 180 games, how is he inexperienced? I'm just talking about as a core. They've not played with each other for a very long time, and again, they're thrown in a centre half. That's what I'm talking about when I say the inexperience of this back line. But back to the matter at hand, if I'm being honest with you, when I first thought of this question, it was less than a millisecond I went Morelos. It's Morelos all day. You unleash him now, he's playing at such a high level, give him his chance to silence his doubters. But the more I thought about it, again, I thought of the two different scenarios, it kinda went like that for me. So now I'm going to hand the reins over to you watching today's video. Do you go with Morelos or do you go with Jermaine Defoe? What are you thinking? And why? And with today's question of the video done and dusted, let's turn our attention to the latest team news then, shall we? Regarding this game of football, BB, who we all saw on Thursday night, clearly had a very bad knock from Nikola Katic, of all people. I mean, he's coming to get that ball, whether you're wearing blue, whether you're wearing green and white hoops, whatever you're wearing, he's coming to take you out, because that's his ball. But it was confirmed that BB did suffer a minor concussion during that accident. Now, good news is he's passed the first couple of tests, but the bad news is there's still a couple more tests that need to be done. That would have been today, actually. So it's going to be a late decision whether BB is a part of the squad tomorrow versus Celtic. But if I'm honest with you, this isn't one I'm too worried about, because to me, you put John Flanagan in this game to try and counter how good they are going forward. Next up we have Ojo, who, if you caught the last preview and prediction video, we did discuss that he was a doubt for Thursday's game because he wasn't taking part in training. Well, that was confirmed once again by Steven Gerrard that he didn't take part in training at all, and he went into Thursday and managed to play the entire 90 minutes playing through the pain. So he has got a bit of a knock, and again it's going to be a late decision whether or not he is involved on Sunday. But all I'm going to say about that is hell of a lot of respect for the lad to come through and play the entire 90 minutes playing through the pain, playing for the badge. And last but not least, everyone else is fully fit and ready to go. They've got a couple of wee bruises and knocks, but again, that's expected from a very physical game versus Legia. But it's nothing too serious, nothing to worry about, and we go into Sunday ready for the game. And with all that being said, we've now reached the point of the video where me and thee dive into the comments and share our prediction on. So while you guys share your thoughts on it, I'll give you mine very, very briefly. I'm expecting fireworks again, as I mentioned right at the start of today's video. A blockbuster game. I'm going to go with Rangers 2, Celtic 0. I think, again, once again, we will keep a clean sheet, which will be very impressive versus this attack from Celtic. But I just think defensively they're too weak, and I think at home, especially with the crowd, we will repeat what we did at the end of last season and come away with comfortable winners, especially as the game goes on. I think it'll be feisty going back and forth, but the longer the game goes on, the more we'll take over it, and I feel like Alfredo Morelos will get his goal versus Celtic. And my second goal scorer, believe it or not, is actually going to be Jermaine Defoe. That's right, I'm picking them both. After what I just asked you guys, I think whoever will start will score, and also when he gets replaced, I think the person that will come on will also get that vital second goal and kill the game as well. I can't wait for the game. It's all fun time. I mean, battle fever is well and truly kicking in. But now that we've had our say, let's just try and stay calm for a couple of minutes and hear from the people on Twitter. There has been 2,592 votes. Thank you so much for all the support. 4% votes for the draw. Only 4% sees a draw coming. That's really surprising. 16% votes for a Celtic win. But again, the far and away winner, as always, is a Rangers win with 80% of the vote. Philip Ewan McGregor writes in Rangers 3-0, Morelos hat-trick and Brown sent off. Shorty writes in 2-1 to the famous. Let's get stuck into them. Gustav writes in 2-1. Defoe and Stephen Davis will get his first goal since coming back. That would be a great story. He certainly deserves it based on his performances. Josh Gibson writes, to be honest, 3-1. Katic, Morelos and Captain Tav and Griffiths for them. Will simply writes in 2-0 to the famous, obviously. I know, Will, but I just have to ask. I mean, it's one of these things. I mean, we've seen it. We've got the Sports Almanac. We know the score. Lewis writes in 4-1 to Rangers. He doesn't put any goal scorer, but Nick does. He goes 2-1 to the famous. Arfield and Katic to score the goals. Rossinator writes in 2-0 to the famous. Alfredo and Joe Aribo to score. Michelle Rooney writes in 2-1 to the Jers. Big Buff and a Tav penalty. And the last one we read out comes from Ashley F14, and she writes in 3-0 to Rangers. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people. You've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. Shout out to the absolute legends on the Patreons account, by the way. I genuinely can't thank you guys enough. If you want to support the channel, links for that, as always, is down there in the description below. And last but not least, I've been Sieging Over 92. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and bye.